You want to talk about money, honey? I like money. But I like money because actually money is also responsibility. Ooh, money's responsibility, money is opportunity. And money is a way that we are able to gift other people, right? And we're able to create good in the world. And today, we're going to have this next speaker is someone who's going to talk with us about money. Monica Kaufman is the director of financial planning at Harmony Asset Management. And there she empowers clients to heal their relationship with money and achieve their own financial independence. With over 2 decades of experience in the financial industry, she combines technical expertise with a passion for guiding individuals and families through complex wealth management. After graduating from Fordham University, she began a career at Arthur Andersen in valuation services. She transitioned to economic research and analysis in the power industry. In 2025, she entered advisory at Merrill Lynch and later Goldman Sachs. And in 2020, she brought her vision to Harmony Asset Management. Outside of work, Monica enjoys spending time with her 2 rescue dogs and supporting others as they build a foundation for their health and happiness. Welcome to the stage, Monica Kaufman. Hello, Monica. You
Hello,
are,
how are you?
there you are. I'm so good. How are you doing?
I am, well, I'm really happy to be here and I've enjoyed listening and I love the people. I knew you were going to bring together a great team, but you really brought it this time, so I'm impressed.
Right? Yes. No, I mean, I'm so fortunate. I'm really, really happy with the expertise, the passion and the commitment that everyone has to their business, but also to just helping people, right? We're in this people game. And so I want you to write down, just answer yes in the chat if being good with your money is important to you. Right? Yes in the chat if you believe being good to your money is important to you. Right. 100% if you agree with the statement that saving money is loving your future self. Right? 100% if saving money is loving your future self. Right. So you all, if you know at all, the Gaily Impact is the nonprofit that we sponsor this event with. And one of our big pieces there is financial literacy. At the end of this, I'll share a link that you all can engage in some training there. But having Monica speak to this topic was super important for someone to represent personal finances on the discussion panel. Monica, let's talk about money, but let's talk about leadership and love first.
Okay,
So you have an illustrious career in money and
right.
in finances, but let's talk about love and specifically, what has love got to do with leadership? What does it have to do with business? What's your angle as to why this is even a relevant conversation that we could live out love fabulously in our business leadership?
Okay, so let's step back just a second. Money is nothing more than a set of tools in your hands. And what you do with your tools tells me about what's going on inside of you. When you love yourself, you learn how to use your tools to build out a positive future for yourself, to take care of your today and build out a positive future. You have a positive future self vision. And it works in a business sense, it works in a career sense. I have a coach that I adore, and I've been in her world ecosystem for a couple of years. And one of the things she always says is how you do anything is how you'll do everything. So you
Mhm.
really truly you can start with, let's say, physical fitness, or you can start with your business and truly build that out. But if you don't love yourself, you won't be able to sustain it. If you're not honest with yourself in any area of your life, you won't be honest in the area that, let's say, is your special focus. You can't, you're a whole person, a whole unit. You have to love yourself to be honest with yourself. You have to love yourself to believe that you were created to be responsible. And responsible means you choose how you respond. That's where your power is, that's where your agency is. And so it goes all the way across. Now, I'm also one of those people who believes that there's so much wisdom in the body. So, for example, if I take care of my body and I look at it, I've been listening to trainers for years, and they talk about a 4-part construct: function, health, fitness, and performance. Does everything work with the body? Okay, if something doesn't work, I've sprained an ankle, what do I need to do to get that back in shape? Then I have to go back to a health point, rebuild my fitness, and then go to performance. It takes time, it takes daily action, it takes intentionality, it takes learning. And that's the lifetime process. It's a lifetime commitment. And that type of self-love translates into every area you live in.
And
So,
well said, well said. So why is it, oh wise one?
oh
Why
no, oh
is
no.
it? No, no, no. I mean this in a great way because I know if you all like, raise your hand if you relate. Sometimes we aren't good with our money and we know it, right? Sometimes we make choices where we're like, is this the best choice? And then you're like, no, but I want this right now. Or, well, it's okay. I'll just take the late fee, or I'll just do this. Or we're like, we make choices sometimes that are not aligned to what we know, or we avoid finding out more, right? We're like, well, I could learn more. So, what is it about money that scares us, or why is it that we don't love ourselves regarding money?
Okay, so here's the problem. Really, truly, 80% of the population is considered financially illiterate. You don't understand money. You don't understand the money system. You don't know how to navigate it. And you do the best you can. And chances are you're surrounded by other people who have the same problem. But here's the thing, we're 4 to 5 generations into this problem. I mean, I tell the story of my mother. My mother, brilliant woman, grew up with nothing. I mean, born in the middle of the Depression. And her parents spent money on her older brother, but they didn't have enough money for her. So her first job was between second and third grade. She got to school, she made something of herself, she married somebody who came from money. But when they got divorced, all of a sudden, all of her money fears, all of the programming that she wasn't worthy of it, that it wasn't for her, that this wasn't something she could do or learn and master. This woman was a mathematician who was financial controller of her company. Okay. There was no reason for her to be like this, but it was all that programming. So logic didn't matter. It was the emotional piece. And it was all that programming. And she hired somebody who was a friend of hers to be a financial advisor, and that person was a disaster. Okay. Now she married somebody. She was fine. She is still fine. But you sort of look at this and you say, this is why this happens. So I have so much empathy for people who are in that place. But my question to you is, okay, you're not a plant, you're not a tree. You're in that place. We can't go backwards. We need to forgive that and let that go, but we need to learn. What are you going to do today to move yourself one step forward? Do you believe that you were created to be financially free, knowing that freedom is the flip side of financial responsibility? Do you believe that you were created to live the life of your dreams? Because if you do, and you create that financial future self vision of living out what you want, you will align your thoughts and your emotions and your actions to get there. If you don't believe it, that's okay. We can work on that. But you cannot go anywhere that your mind has not gone before. So my question for the people in the chat is, do you believe that you can build out that financial freedom you crave? Is it, yeah, it's a yes or no. Do you believe it? Put it in the chat.
Yeah, and it's so important. You're right. If you don't believe it, you can't get there, right? If you haven't
Mhm.
seen it, you can't get there. And sometimes we're so much in the overwhelm, right? We're in the fear, that we allow the fear not to move us. And I know you are passionate about mindfulness in your work. We talked about, we actually, Monica and I did our very first little, was our first master class together that either of us had done.
Yes.
And one of the topics that we went, it really kind of delved into, and I want you all to think about, right? Your money game is a reflection of the life game, right? Your money game is a reflection of your whole life game. So if you're a person who doesn't feel secure in relationships with people, relationships with yourself, right? If you don't feel like you're good with numbers, you're not good with, you're not beautiful, you're not smart, you know, all these limiting thoughts
Right.
that we tend to put, I call them the boxes, right? These constructs of what cannot be that we allow ourselves to exist in, they absolutely affect your money game because they're part of the same game. They're all related to our thoughts, minds, and feelings not being connected. And I'm going to just share an example, right? It took me a while. I actually went through a divorce and I was always really, really good with numbers, great at numbers. I would like just, I would make sure I knew exactly where everything was going. And when I divorced, I stopped doing that. It was so overwhelming to have
Mhm.
to take on debt as you're going through a divorce and you're responsible for all these people, but now you've got this new financial overwhelm. And I just stopped. And I didn't realize that that was me not loving myself anymore,
Right.
right? It was a spreadsheet, just a spreadsheet, right?
Well,
But what I
here's the other.
realized later was, oh my gosh, I stopped loving myself, right? And I'm just going to ask you all, maybe you all have stories like that. Monica is someone who's going to help you step in and start addressing those things. Monica.
Okay, and so here's the other piece that I want to say to people. You are going to fall down. So one of the things I talk to people about is I want you to go beyond resilience. So what's resilience? The old-fashioned definition is you get knocked down 5 times, you get up six, right? What I work with people to do is I want you to go beyond resilience and to build out what psychologists call grit: gratitude, resilience, instincts, and tenacity. Okay, why is that so important? You have to build out the gratitude because that's the ultimate biohack that allows you to reset your thinking. You build out the resilience where you can get back up. And once you know that when you've gotten down, you've got knocked down, you can get back up again, it becomes a lot easier to move forward with confidence. So there's a lot of ways to do this, but everybody gets knocked down in life. And the question is, how quickly do you get back up? How quickly do you learn and make the shift, make the course correction, and get back on track? Okay. You have to give yourself permission to do that. And when you get knocked down, that's fine. Get back up. All right. Don't beat yourself up. Learn from any mistakes. And one of the things you have to learn when you're a leader, and especially when you're successful with money, when you step into that leadership position with money, is to let go. Once you've learned from it, you let go. Okay. And you move on. You don't make the same mistakes twice. Okay, you made a mistake. See, here's the thing. People think, I hear people who don't have that financial confidence, who are in a position where they don't have an understanding of finance, and they say, I want a risk-free portfolio. There is no such thing. Okay, there is no such thing in life as risk-free. So what I want people to do is embrace risk in a way that's calculated. Risks they're comfortable taking, knowing that there may be failure, there may be pain, but there's growth in failure and pain, and you're going to learn from it and you're going to move on. You have to get to the point where you're comfortable with discomfort and you manage risk across your life. You don't, very few people really truly stop driving because they're afraid of getting on the road. They may drive
Absolutely.
they may drive at different hours, they may buy a safer car, they may wear a seatbelt, they may do different things, but they don't stop getting in a car. Okay, so you have to learn how to manage it the same way. Okay,
Yeah.
and you also need to forgive yourself. You have to give yourself that love and that grace to say, okay, that was a mistake. It's in the past. I'm not going to be afraid of making mistakes in the future. I'm going to learn and grow. So that's part of that. Okay. And then the next thing that I want to talk to people about is I want people to start creating a future self vision. So I have an example of one that I just want to go through with you.
You
Um,
say a vision? A
it's called a
vision?
future self vision. And one of the things I have people do is I have them write out a future self vision. What does it look like? So this is a gentle one. That's a very simple one. But when I have people do it, I will have people write it out and get specific. I want them to add in what they think, what they feel, the colors around them, if they smell anything, okay? Anything. Are there roses on the desk? Okay. Are there gardenias hanging up above? I love gardenias. I love the scent. What is in the room? I want them to tie it into the five senses. What they'll do with that future self vision frequently, this is when they first give themselves to permission to imagine what this looks like. I want them to put themselves into it. And then I have them read it aloud into their phone. Why? I want them to listen to it every night before they go to sleep and first thing in the morning when they wake up. Because I want them to start programming their subconscious that that is normal and to start aligning their thoughts and their feelings with the actions to put themselves into that image. You never get anywhere that your mind will not let you go. Okay. So we have to get your mind there first before we get you into the actions that get you there. So it's a nice little way of biohacking it. There are a lot of people. Has anybody here ever done a vision board? Put it in the chat if you've done a vision board, right? Vision board.
Oh yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
It's
I do it
fun.
When do you do yours, Monica?
When somebody invites me to a vision board party. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'll have to invite you next year.
Okay. But here's the thing. So if you do a vision, a future self vision, and then you write it out, you read it out into your phone, you play it, and then you create it by doing the pictures and you put it up on your mirror where you see it first thing in the morning and last thing at night, you're reinforcing it.
Yeah.
Again, we want to hack into the mind in a way to program the mind to get to where we want to go, as opposed to that stuck thing that we thought we had to accept that we don't like. Okay. So here's what a future self vision might look like. Imagine waking up on a weekend morning to the warmth of sunlight streaming through the windows. You ease into your routine, savoring the calm before heading to the kitchen to make your favorite latte. Okay. Sitting down at the table, you open the laptop you left there before to review your financial picture, a routine that now brings you peace and confidence. Your personal bank accounts are in perfect order. Online payments are scheduled with more than enough cash to cover them. Your emergency fund is exactly where you want it to be, and that provides you with another layer of security. The routine transfers to your investment and retirement accounts are on track and aligned with your goals. You then go and check on the investment accounts, and you're pleased to see the growth you expect. You feel confident in the balance between your chosen investments and the level of risk you're carrying. Your upcoming meetings with your CPA and your financial advisor are scheduled, and you're prepared with a list of questions and ideas for discussion. Quick review of your 401k and benefits reveals steady progress. You know exactly what adjustments you want to make. As you sit back and reflect, you feel immense confidence in the team you've assembled. They understand your goals, they address your concerns, and they support you in building the future you want. Most importantly, you've developed the ability to evaluate the opportunities in front of you and identify those that align with your present needs and long term vision. Congratulations. You've embraced your role as the CEO of your financial life. So that is a framework that I gave to somebody. They altered it, and then other people have altered their own. But the question is not to use my language, use yours, real language that reflects who you are. And that's something that I work with people to do. And then it becomes easier to work backwards and use other tools, using things you use every day, making them work for you to shift the way you think, feel, and act with money. And that's the goal.
Awesome. I'm going to ask you this about the visioning piece. So and I don't know, I've practiced this, so you tell me where this fits in this, right? So one of the things I think is so interesting about money is that we often, um, if you were to come into great sums of money, right? Right? How would you be? Right? If you anticipate that future state. And here's what I mean, right? It's like, would you still live responsibly? Would you live within quote unquote a reasonable human's means, right? And what would you do? Where would you invest it? What kinds of companies would you choose, right? What kinds of endeavors would you invest in from a nonprofit perspective? Which types of humans and what types of behaviors? Like if you really sit and think with it, right? It sort of invites all these questions about what's your life purpose? Who would you be? How would you honor the money you have, right? So for the money to flow into your life, I think having those questions answered. Oh,
Yep.
would you just spend all your money on big parties and boats? And well, that's great, but do you think money will flow in your life if that's what you want to do? It could,
It
right?
could. It could.
It
It
could,
could.
but how much more beautiful, how much more responsible, how much greater is it if you think about how you would really actually deal with it? And are you ready? Are you mentally ready for the wealth that you want? Right? Part of the process of becoming a leader is preparing you to actually deal with the money that you would receive in that role. It's part of the process.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, think about the fact that of all the stories of people who win the lotto and are broke within 2 years and dead within five. Okay. And so one of the things that I'll admit this, I will buy the lotto ticket when it gets above a certain number. Okay. And it's fun. And part of what's fun is I will take it, not that I'm anticipating winning. Okay. But I have to leave myself open to that opportunity. You have to create the vessel, which is the one ticket that I will buy. And I will literally calculate out, okay, what would it be after taxes? What would it be after charity? What charities would it go to? Okay, what would I do with the money? And I literally build it out and I realize here's the other piece of it. What I do as my life work would continue. I would do this anonymously. Nobody needs to know. I can give to charity anonymously. I can do good things without drawing attention to myself. I would much rather do that and still have the person on the street say, hey, she was a jerk and I'm going to tell her off, rather than think, oh, well, she did this. Okay. It's one of those things where it's like, I will go through that process and I will think about it. When I think about my business and what I'm building and what I'm doing, I'm constantly like, okay, how will I manage this? How will I move forward? I lay that mental groundwork. And I think doing it with the lotto is the ideal way to start. Okay, what would it look like for that? What would really truly change? And if I'm anonymous, would I keep my house? Absolutely. Why wouldn't I? There's no reason to change. You might see a couple more dogs in my house than the two that I have, but other than that, very little would change.
Right? Is here's the interesting thing, right? So you're managing a business, and so we're putting on our business, there's the personal and then there's the business side, right? So
Right.
I've had the experience, right, of leading a $250 million business, right? And you're sitting there
Mhm.
going like, what do I do with this? And you go like, well, you treat it as if it's your own, which means that
Exactly.
you're good with it, right? You're the steward of someone else's money. And in a lot of our roles, whether we are taking care of our own business, or as you have also had experience, Monica, where we're managing money of other individuals, it's really, really important to be good with the money because it's respectful, because it's honoring, right, of the company you work for, and it's honoring of yourself.
But it's also when you look at people, I love this when financial advisors talk about with pride, this is how much money I have under management. And I look at them and I'm like, it's not yours. It's the client. And it is
Right.
an absolute privilege to sit with people and work with people on their money. Why? Because the money is the tool they use to build out what they want and what they need for themselves and for their families, period, or their communities. Okay. And when you respect that it's about them and it's not about you, and you park your ego on the sidewalk, all things become possible. But you have to have that fundamental boundary in your head and respect for them as well as for yourself to do that. I insist on treating people the way I would want to be treated and the way I would want my mother to have been treated. Unfortunately, she wasn't, and the way I want other people in my family to be treated. And unfortunately, within my industry, I feel like sometimes we've failed the American public on a lot of levels because we don't instill that. But here's the key. I really believe in empowering the individual to take ownership of their finances, to learn the system, to not be part of that 80%, to be part of the 20%. And I feel like the more people learn and are empowered to take ownership and understand the system and not be part of the financially illiterate or financially vulnerable, the more people do that and then inspire the people around them, the more they will force change, not just with other people stepping up and learning. You will be that role model, but also forcing my industry to do better. So I believe the only way to get change within my industry is for clients to get stronger. And during the shutdown, when I had client after client calling me in an absolute panic about their money, about their investments, about their retirement, whatever it was, what went through my head was there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way. People frequently may know some of what they need to do. Sometimes they don't. They don't know where to go, and that's another problem. But they may know what they need to do, and there are a small subsection of us that truly feel really can read about it and then go implement. They can read about it and do it. They can, when they need to lose weight, they go, okay, these are my macros. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go do it. Then there's the rest of us who need to craft our environment and have somebody who's with us, encouraging us on and teaching us and holding us accountable. You have to figure out where you are. There are some people for whom, Weight Watchers works, where they're in a group environment, they get cheered on, they have a monthly weigh-in. Then there's other people who may want to go to the doctor for the medical program, but they still have an accountability piece there. Then there are the people who read about it on their own and do it. I'm in the group that it's like, okay, for money and for weight loss, I like Noom. I like the idea of using the mind, using the coaching, using the education, and putting it all together so that I shift and I get the results I want, because that's lasting change. So my program and what I do with people is very much inspired by Noom. We use the psychology and the education to get people to shift to where they want to go. But yeah, no, it's interesting. Here's the other thing.
I have a one question, one last question as we and I know we have people can get, let's go ahead and Dawson drop the freebie
Right.
for Monica. I think people can have some time with you, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
I
Which
I
is
cleared my schedule because I want people to actually come up and say, okay, what's the mountain that's inside of you that's blocking you from doing what you need to do? And let's walk through that together and talk about what that change would look like. So
awesome.
go ahead.
I have a question for you though. And this is
Mm.
because well, one was you said very beginning, you said 42 generations. Was that America or what is that
I'm
for?
sorry. I apologize. 4 to 5 generations of where we are. That was
Oh,
a mistake.
okay. I
Oh
thought
no,
you
I
had
got
counted like I was like, wait. How many generations to the beginning of time? Like I was okay, thank you.
4 to 5 generations into this problem.
So
We've
here's my
made the
question.
system so complicated.
Here's my
Oh,
question for you. And it's if you're like, what hell with this a little weird, but I'm just curious. So our systems of money, right?
mhm.
I think one of the things we're facing into in the world is the sharing challenge that we're having,
Absolutely.
right? And as I think about what you're doing and what I'm doing with my financial literacy work, is we're enabling people, right, to do better with what they have. Um, with someone that has significant wealth, what would
Right.
your recommendation be to them as to how to help change or shift the systems so that they are more loving to others?
Okay, so there's a lot of different things, but it starts with the individual. When they take leadership and they say, okay, I'm going to learn about this system and understand it so that I know who I want in my world to advise me and who I don't. And then it also becomes a question of then when you look at the nonprofits, because there are a lot of nonprofits that do a lot of good, finding people who align with your values becomes a lot easier once you understand more of the system and then you can work with others. Okay, because it's easier to find out what you're looking for when it's clear, when you have clarity. Okay. And clarity is one of those things, it becomes a lot easier to follow with it. The other piece is you have to believe it's possible. You have to believe that you can do it. And there are a lot of people who, for some bizarre reason, don't think they can. I have seen people with modest incomes retire involuntarily in their 50s with millions, and they wind up in a position where they're doing that charitable thing. I have seen people with sky high incomes never make the shift and they sabotage themselves. So again, it starts with that clarity of mind, that clarity of purpose, and then it becomes a lot easier to figure out who fits that and who doesn't. So I really,
Okay.
really, really want to encourage people, regardless of where you are, believe that it is possible, work towards it, learn the system and master it. And then, it's like in life, the more successful you get and the more focused you are on doing the right things, the easier it is to identify who within your sphere reflects that and encourages that and wants that and who does not. And you wind up shifting who's around you. You shift your environment. It's the same thing. I want people
Absolutely,
to
it
do that.
is. It is. Thank you so much, Monica. And you all, please do take advantage of the time with Monica to sit down and just look at your money situation and really just shift it because she's going to be very helpful in that. Thank you, Monica, for joining me
Thank you
today.
for having me. It was a true pleasure, and I wish everybody the best. There are so many more speakers. Listen and enjoy them and learn from them. Take all that they have to give because there's a lot there.
Awesome. Thank you, Monica.
Take
And
care.
I want to take care. And I want to encourage you all. I'm going to share here. I'm going to have Das drop something into the chat. Um, Please, Das, our financial literacy training. So next week, Tuesday evening, I'm going to be doing a live session like this. And joining me will be Kim Schooler. Look at this lovely lady here in the picture with me. Kim Schooler is a woman who wrote, she's a huge financial literacy champion. She wrote the book How Money Works for Women. And she is my mentor in this area of really pushing the needle around financial literacy. It is the number one economic crisis in the world. There are some shocking facts about Americans not having enough money for emergencies, not having enough money for retirement. Only 28 states make you take a class, and you got to wonder Why is that? Why would we be raising up our children without knowledge and money unless it was to potentially leave them without the knowledge, right? And this is a very, very serious issue to me as a parent, as a father, as a leader. Um, it's also an issue that greatly affects women, really, really impacts women across the globe in terms of domestic violence, in terms of their inability to make decisions for themselves, and also the LGBTQ community, which happens in people of color. Both those groups also have very specifically low statistics in terms of income and also in terms of rates of literacy. So one of the things we are very passionate about is talking about this issue and then actually raising people up. And it's not just about, do I know the basics? It's also, if I have it, do I know the advanced things I need to do to build more of it to do good? So we've dropped that in the chat. I encourage it. And I'm going to